Welcome in on this Monday. My name is Shanae Hancock here at the live desk. It is News You Can Use Monday. So today we are going to continue our weekly series talking to Josh Planos with the Better Business Bureau. You can see him now here on your screen. Josh, thank you so much for joining me. How's it going?
It's going great, Janae. How's everything with you?
It's going well. So let's kick things off with this interview. I know we are seeing a rise in our region, especially here lately, with influencer related scams. Speak a little bit more about that and what you all are seeing as far as the BBB is concerned.
Yeah, so this is the start of National Consumer Protection Week, which is really a fantastic opportunity to get a better sense of what information you share online, how you interact with people in the increasingly digital world that we all live in. With influencers, this is still a relatively new economy, relatively new space. It's also a billion-dollar industry. So there is a lot of money that is exchanging hands. And sadly, what we've seen is that there are a lot of influencers or aspiring influencers who are signing up to support products or services that may not be legitimate and in fact may not be in the best interest of the audience that they have cultivated over time. It sounds fantastic to be, a brand ambassador in theory, but you also want to make sure that that product actually exists. And sadly, what some of the reports that we've monitored include is information that it doesn't. And I know that a lot of folks wish that they had just asked a few questions ahead of time before agreeing to terms and conditions with that product or service.
And I think you touch on a good point. The fact that this, I guess you can say, profession has become really popular just within the last few years. A lot of people looking for extra money as well as just maybe a side gig. But I want you to touch on who are scammers targeting the most. Is it going to be people in high school, maybe college? Who's most at risk right now?
Yeah, so a lot of it follows the general trend of who actually makes up the influencer economy. It's not to say that those between 18 and 24 are the, exclusive targets of scammers, but it does follow reason that, a lot of the targeting and the reports would mirror that demographic because that is largely who is actually creating the influencer economy. Pretty much anyone under 30, certainly a little bit more susceptible to fall for these types of scams if they have presumably less contract experience, less experience dealing with any sort of potential employer. So maybe not knowing what questions to ask. But also, this is still such a new economy and such a new space that those over 30 are still falling prey to some of these reports as well. Just because, again, it sounds great in theory. Somebody sends you a message and tells you immediately we want you to sign up to support our health and wellness product. But it's also slightly more complicated when you don't have access to that product ahead of time. So certainly that's one of our tips is, ask lots of questions, ask for details. Don't allow that person to be evasive and stop responding, or if they do, at the very least, stop promoting their product. And then, of course, be very cautious of any job that asks you to hand over money. Scammers have often posed under the guise of running credit checks on potential influencers and setting up direct deposits or even requiring payment for training to support that product. That is not typical in this space.
I think that within itself is just kind of strange to have someone ask you in order to kind of take this job that you need to send them money. So that's already a red flag starting off. But how we talk about there being a rise in our area, do we know how many influencers have been impacted or how much money has been lost so far?
So certainly, as it pertains to pretty much any scam type we monitor, the vast majority of fraud reports in this country go unreported, and especially in this realm, because what you stand to lose is your entire audience, right? Certainly, a business stands to lose a lot too when they are scammed, but what you are selling largely as an influencer is yourself, and if you are found to have fallen prey to a scam that is completely detrimental to your future earnings. It's something you would really do everything you could, presumably, to keep under wraps so that information does not harm you financially moving forward. We've seen a handful of reports in this area, none of whom wanted to include the monetary loss associated with the scam. And there are reasons for that, right? Once that information gets out there, you might be seen as less credible. Sadly, all that really does is protect the person who perpetrated the scam. So if you have experienced something, please say something, please report it. That is the only way through education that we can actually prevent some others from needing to go through that experience as well.
And here in a bit, we'll touch on how people can report it correctly to the BBB. But really fast, any other tips that you have for our viewers? I know you touched on maybe doing a little bit more research regarding these companies.
Yeah, do a cursory search of that business or that charity that is contacting you to get a better sense for whether they're real, right? We've got a lot of helpful tips on how to spot phony Instagram accounts, how to spot phony TikTok accounts, what kind of information you should look for before you agree to any sort of terms and conditions with a business. Things like contact information, right? We'd all like to think that just because that person communicated with me on Instagram, I can get a hold of them at any hour. The reality is, of course, if it's a real business, they should have some contact information outside of just a social media channel. So, some basic tips like that, I think would really go a long way in sussing out what is a real opportunity from what is a fraudulent one. There are a lot of, fake job scams out there, all of which seem to require the technique that you pay to train to provide a service. And as we all know, in the professional economy, really it's the employer that pays you to do the job. And so anytime, even if it's on the front end, that someone is asking for you to sign up or pay something to in order to promote them, that should be a sign that you should walk away from that experience.
A lot of great tips there, Josh. And how can people report these scams to you, the Better Business Bureau?
Yeah, so if you bring it to bbb.org/scam tracker, we have a free publicly available tool that's really simple. You walk through the process. You can be kept anonymous if you so choose. And then, of course, if it graduates to a situation where, say, an investigation is required, we hand that off to local law enforcement. If it results in a lawsuit, we would hand that over to the Attorney General's office. But it is a fantastic opportunity for you to share your experience and, on your terms, really. That's why it was designed the way it was. So even if it is an experience that you quickly want to move past, you can still allow that experience to shape someone else for the better and to protect your community.
As always, Josh, thank you so much for joining me here at the live desk on every Monday for news you can use. Have a great Monday, Josh.
Thank you.